Hey, good morning. Good morning. It is a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday morning here in Northeast Ohio. I am Lou Marconi at lmarconi251 on Instagram, at lmarconi1973 on X. This is the Burning River Browns Talk Daily Show, and I am here I'm a part of the Fanatical Elves Network. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. We love it. We love it when people do that. And we have a lot of great people in Fanatical Elves Network that do a lot of great Browns content. So definitely follow us for Browns content. And we are a subsidiary of the Fans First Sports Network. So today's show, I am here to talk to you about, there was a podcast last week while Deshaun Watson was opening a sandwich shop that he was investing in University Heights. It was called Lefty's Cheesesteaks. So Kevin Stefanski made an appearance there, and they did the QB Unplugged podcast. So I want to talk about that a little bit. Plus, it looks like we're hearing some rumblings about who's going to be playing the Eagles in Brazil, but who knows? Who knows what's what at this point? So without any further ado, got to pause. We have bills to pay. Let's pause right now. All right, perfect. Great. Thanks for hanging with me. Thanks for joining. We appreciate it. Okay, let's start out with the news that kind of broke yesterday. So it sounds like a Packers reporter came out and said it looks like the Packers are getting ready to go to Brazil, but they're not going to have to leave until early September. So nothing's been officially announced. And until then, you really don't know because before yesterday, everybody thought it was going to be the Browns. From what I understood was the Packers didn't want it, but the Browns did. But I'm not sure what the NFL is thinking. I do remember hearing that there was a rule that I wasn't even aware of, that every team in the NFL in the next 10 years has to give up a home game to an international game. So more than likely within the next 2 years, one of our home games will be played internationally, probably in London. So I don't know how many times they're going to go play in Brazil, but that would be interesting to see, to say the least. Probably one of the years when we have 9 home games. So one of those off years, and that seems to make sense. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what get announced. They're saying this week now. Well, they said that 2 weeks ago. So who knows? I know the schedule usually gets announced the first week in May, right after the NFL draft. So they'll have a release show on a Thursday night, and we could sit down and talk about it and go through every game. And everybody plays the scheduling game, which is ridiculous because who could pick who's going to win a game in December in the month of May when you have no idea what's going on? You can have a situation like the Jets or the Browns where a team is decimated with injuries, things happen. We all know that. It's the NFL. All right, back to it. Let's go to that QB Unplugged podcast. That was very interesting because I think there was a perception, whether it's nationally or locally in the media, kind of like thinking that Deshaun Watson isn't really happy here, or this isn't working out, this isn't going to happen. The only reason was, one, they don't like Deshaun for obvious reasons. He had bad PR, and he had legal troubles outside of that, outside of football, and it's his own doing. I'm not justifying anything that happened. All I know is that he was never charged with a crime, and he was never convicted of a crime, and he settled with a lot of accusers, and I think there's one left to go in court. So you're hearing all kinds of stories too about that. And then you're hearing that, hey, maybe he won't fit in with the Browns offense with what they want to do. Well, they're putting together an offense to make it fit for him. But Kevin Stefanski showed up to the sandwich shop that was opening, the grand opening in University Heights, called Lefty's Cheesesteaks, and they went on the QB Unplugged podcast. It was very interesting what they talked about and how they even broke down plays from the opening from the opening game against Cincinnati, which I was at. I was there. I was happy to be there. So yeah, and he even explained like it was a weather game. It was messy, but both quarterbacks struggled. Joe Burrow really struggled, and hey, sometimes games like that happen. You can have the best offense in the world, and if it's a rainy day and a bad weather day, it's going to limit them. So that was an equalizing factor. However, we beat them by 21 points. We won that game, if I understand correctly, 24-3. And he was showing the adjustments they made and their thought process and their strategy when calling certain plays and doing certain things, because all teams look at tendencies of the other team and they anticipate the tendency. So it's a good idea, if you know your opposing team is doing that, is to break those tendencies. And Cincinnati did that a couple times when they pressured out of a look. They usually don't show pressure on defense. So that was interesting. Plus, Deshaun Watson gave a lot of praise to Coach Stefanski and how he handles things and how he carries himself and just really I mean, because really what you are as a head coach in the NFL, you're an executive manager and you're managing grown men with a lot of personalities. And he even said, he said his first press conference as a head coach goes, personalities are welcome, production is required. So that's fine. And I thought it was great. I thought, it showed, not always what you read or hear from people that barely cover the Browns or kind of are far away in the national media saying things that might not be 100% true, but perception can be reality to some. People were surprised we didn't offer a contract to Flacco, and I think it had nothing to do with Joe himself. We're really appreciative of what he did, but he wasn't going to fit into the offense they were implementing this year with Dorsey being brought in, the new assistant coaches. So we're changing things to better ourselves. And if Joe Flacco didn't fit in that plan, Jameis Winston, Ty Huntley, yeah, DTR might get traded. I would say in the preseason, he'll probably play in some preseason games to raise his stock. They could draft a quarterback and keep him on the practice squad in the later rounds. There could be strategy with that, but it's hard to say right now. And speaking of the draft, we're about 15 days away from the NFL draft. Today is April 10th, and there's a lot to talk about to go between now and then. A lot of speculation, which is what it is. What are the Browns going to do with the 54th pick? Are they going to trade back? Are they going to try to get more picks? I really couldn't tell you. It depends on what kind of deal comes across their way. Are they going to trade somebody? Also, the rumor is going on with Greg Newsome's fifth year option in his rookie contract being picked up. It makes sense. He's a good he's a good starting NFL corner, defensive back. You keep your good players as long as you can. So, and plus considering this, that, hey, guys get hurt, players get hurt. Denzel Ward has missed time through every season. He's missed a couple games. Having three good NFL starting corners, Martin Emerson, Greg Newsome, Denzel Ward, is invaluable for this defense. So it's fantastic. So we could talk more about that later. I will be back tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. live right here to talk to you again. We'll talk more Browns talk. And like I said, hey, always remember, when the river burns, it burns brown and orange. Thank you.